Alright, so this was a fanfiction idea that you guys voted on over on my Patreon, and I basically did a poll talking about like a team-up story with a pulp character. And this one won by a large margin, and that was James Bond and the Spirit, which is two characters I don't think I've talked a lot about on this channel. So yeah, here we go with a crossover of James Bond and the Spirit. Now, as to like which James Bond, let's just say it's nebulous. Let's just say it's kind of a nebulous story. So anyway, so Bond is basically on a mission. Basically, what's going on is that Specter has been operating outside of in between the DMZ of Korea and North Korea. And essentially what they're trying to do is start a war. So in the middle of this, James is trying to stop this war being perpetrated by Spectre. However, in the middle of it, while he's fighting his way through goons, he discovers someone else got here first. And he's like, yeah, someone got here. Someone got here before me. And he's like, oh, we figured this might happen. And he's like, what? You what? And they're like, yeah, we got some news. You might have some company. And the moment he says that, he hears like more fighting up ahead. And sure enough, it's the Spirit. Throwing down with Spectre soldiers. So Bond is just like jumps in and he's like, "Are you the Spirit?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, I am. Hi. You must. Who are you?" And they're like, and he's like, "Bond, James Bond, Agent 007." And he's like, "Oh, they mentioned you. Hi. I'm like you already know me. So you want to help me fight these guys?" And so they clear their way through, and basically they find one of the generals. One of the commanding officers, and they're like, "So what was the deal here? You wanted to start a nuclear war between the two Koreas?" And the guy goes, "If you only knew what was coming for you, especially you, Spectre, especially you, Spirit." And the Spirit's just like, "Uh-huh. Okay." Anyway, so proceeds to push the guy off a ledge with a rope tied around him, and he's like, "All right, so here's the deal. Judging by your weight, which is a lot, by the way, this rope's gonna snap. Now, I can pull you in before that happens, but, you gotta tell me what happens." And that looks like a sharp drop right there, pal. So the guy basically spills his guts and basically says that, Blofeld has been usurped. And the new regime has been, the new regime that's come in has basically, taken Spectre to a more violent and a more faster pace. And that's when the Spirit's like, "Yep, so you confirm my suspicions," so pulls him up, but Bond just kind of breaks the guy's neck. And Spectre's like, Spirit's like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" And he's like, "You know something, so I don't really care for the whole cape and cowl bullcrap you got going on, so you better start talking." And Spirit's like, "Okay, yes. Spectre was usurped, and I know who did it." He calls himself the Octopus. The Octopus was looking to hone in. He's a master criminal, part of who runs a global criminal organization. I'm sure that Spectre and the Octopus have probably crossed paths multiple times, but it was basically that Spectre probably had one too many losses, thanks to you, and the people in Spectre wanted to have better results. So the Octopus, who already probably had agents in the facility, usurped Blofeld. So, yeah. So, Bond is just like, "So, where do you have any intel on where you could go?" And the Octopus the Spirit is just like, "Yeah, I got a solid idea of where he could go. Some of my sources basically said that the Octopus is basically meeting with the rest of the global power of Spectre within somewhere in Thailand." So, yeah. So they go to Thailand, and during that time, Bond is basically talking to the Spirit "So, what's the whole deal? What is your whole deal here?" And he's like, "Oh, I got framed for murder, and I survived, and now I am trying to keep my city safe, and, finally take down the Octopus." And he's like, "And you're using all your skills and putting him behind a mask?" And he's like, first off, don't diss my mask. Secondly, yeah, it protects people who I love. You know, I know like anonymity is a big thing with you secret agent types, but you know, I don't really have special gadgets. All I got is my fists and gumption here, and yeah, I do have my own a few tricks, but you know, I don't really trust government power after how I was betrayed. So I'll be happy to work with you, and if it means bringing down the octopus. So Bond and the Spirit they make their way to Thailand, and sure enough, they're after asking around. Spirit has to like travel from the shadows while Bond is like, you know, in the building making small talk and shit. And yeah, they're at this massive casino, and sure enough, the octopus is there talking to other heads of Specter, basically saying so. And he's like, so listen, Blofeld's gone, and you guys better accept it. You can get on the train, or you can, you know, die. You can make your beds and die in them. There is no in between here. So what happens though is the Spirit, like Bond is trying to, you know, get in close so he can find get in close to find out who the octopus is. And at the same time, the Spirit just busts into the meeting like, I'm here for you, octopus. And he's like, the Spirit, I was wondering when you were going to show up, and I'm sure Bond is with you too. So firefight breaks out, the octopus escapes again, and Bond and the Spirit are captured. It's later revealed that like the two of them are captured and are taken to a island base off the coast of Indonesia. And the two of them are just like, you know, they're all tied up, and the octopus is like, you know, when I took over Specter, I had such a small vision. I just wanted to keep a criminal empire going. But this feels like a waste, doesn't it, Spirit? So, the whole nuclear war thing, yeah, that was me. And I'll tell you why I did it. I knew you were, on the off chance you were going to stop me, but at the same time, I had the ambition, the dream even, to like basically threaten a World War III. And do you know how much these weapons I could make off of from other major powers? And yeah, I'm just going to use Spectre's resources to make money and sell to the highest bidder after I start World War III. So later, so they're left in a horrible death trap, and the octopus basically was like, I'm not a fucking idiot. I know you both. So they basically strip them of all gadgets and stuff, leaving them to die by drowning in this tank. But who should save them other than Blofeld? And Blofeld basically reveals, like, yeah, he took what was mine. I have been hiding on this island with some of my other loyalist members of Spectre. And he wants to make a fucking weapons manufacturer? That's all he wants to use Spectre for? Fuck that. So, gentlemen, I ask you to help me. So Bond is like, what's to stop me from putting a bullet in you right now? And he's like, the threat of World War III and basically a criminal capitalist. And Bond just has this moment, and even the Spirit is like, the Spirit is even like, don't do it, James. Like, as much as, like, I know what it's like to, like, want to put a bullet in your arch enemy, but, like, now's not the time. So, the three men, they break out and proceed to fight their way to get to the octopus. So, eventually they do fight their way to him, and Blofeld just goes at him. Now, remember, they never reveal the identity of the octopus. And even Blofeld is like, I don't care who, they say they never know who you are, there's no record of you, but I don't really care. I'll figure out your dental records after I beat you to death. But the octopus managed to overpower Blofeld, because Blofeld's not a real fighter, and proceeds to make a getaway, and he's like, until next time, Spirit! So, Blofeld, in return, basically with him returning to Spectre, is like, I'm in charge again, and kill James and the Spirit. So the Spirit and Bond have to like fucking escape again, and so they just make a quick getaway, and James is just raw about it, because he's like, I had one chance, I knew he was gonna betray me, I knew that was going to happen. But the Spirit's like, there'll always be another time to stop them. Trust me, I know. But like people, like guys like us, we'll make it. We'll keep hurting them until for as long as we can. So there you go, guys. That is my James Bond The Spirit crossover. I want to thank everyone who voted on Patreon, and if you guys would like to be part of these Patreon polls, just hit the link in the description box below, head on over to my Patreon, hit the first tier. That'll allow you access to do so. But other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in Multiverse.